This guitar was £30 on Amazon. It's the first ever guitar I had, or it was maybe my brother's, I don't know. But it's a guitar that I found, and I wanted to make it look like this, or if I'm lucky, something like this. But in realness, we all know that's going to end up looking like this, or maybe even like this. But what do you or I need to actually do this? Well, in all honesty, I haven't got a clue. This is my first time doing it, and there's not really anything that I know I need. But no. Before you start like scrunching that piece of paper that you're gonna write down all the things you need on, and then just throwing that wrist back and pinging it at that monitor, I have got the basic things that are needed. Now it's time for the actual decorating part. So I started off by taking off the little circle bits that like covered the screws, so then they wouldn't just like randomly fall out. And then I went on to the upper like head of the guitar and starting to take out all the strings. It was quite hard because these strings went through a little hole and were then knotted at the top, so I had to find a way to. I think I was like to poke them back through, and then I also didn't have a winder to put on the end of the guitar to actually make it so it's faster to make the strings loose. So I did that, and I took a few pictures of it just before because I forgot to do that at the beginning. And then I started to unscrew the screws because they were not screwed into something. It was quite hard to take them out, so I had to keep on placing something underneath and then pushing them up slightly to like allow them to come out. This would be so much easier if I did have a drill which I could do up. Now it was time to take off the little bar that's at the bottom, put a little Timmy in there to stop the sound so my dad didn't come upstairs and be like, yo, Jacob, you're doing it wrong, that's how you do it. And there should be points in time where you get just underneath it, as you saw there, and it should just pop out like so. And then you take the little Timmy out, and then I start to unscrew the bits that connected the winders on top of the head. And that was quite simple. It was just so they could be dusted and cleaned. And then I got the elbow grease and started to clean away and make sure there was no dust left on the guitar. So then when it came to painting and other things like that, and like other parts, it wouldn't get in the way and cause the thing just to look worse. I then did that to all the little pieces as well. And now it's time for the Bosch machine. First time I ever used a Bosch. Cannot lie, I should have wore some type of goggle, but I didn't. I was stupid. I wanted the dust to go in my eyes apparently, and I also wore a black jumper. Now this is what I forgot. Well, what I didn't realise actually was at the back of the Bosch machine, there's like a vent, and it like would shoot all the dust out that one vent. And obviously, as you can see, the vent is right where my arm's gonna be, and so when I had my sleeves down, it just kept on going straight into my wrist, and that's why I put my sleeves up. But then it just started going all over my wrist and stuff like that. And yeah, oh my gosh, it was literally all over me. You can't really see on this, but there was like a lot of just dust everywhere. And then a lot of time when I put the hand sander down, this is me actually a couple of days later because I did get ill, and then this is me doing the head bit. But like it doesn't turn off straight away, so when I put it down, it just started sanding my table. And then this is me after the first time just dusting all the sand, what is it, sawdust, yeah, that's what it is, sawdust off my jumper, so then it didn't like get ready. So now it's time for the designing. Go straight into designing. This, I don't know why I started doing this in the dark. I had like a spare of the moment thing when I was like getting ready for bed. I was like, nah, I need to do a few drawing things, and not me thinking that you won't be able to see what I'm actually doing. You can get the premises of what I'm searching on my phone, which is like the meteorites and stuff like that. And when I tell you this is the most painful way to record possible, It was, oh my gosh. You'll see at the end of this, I literally just had, I have a Polaroid cube, which I do need to get like a different camera because all the cameras that I use in this are awful apart from the one on my phone. But there's a point in time where I go on Snapchat and then you see it's in my mouth and it hurt my jaw, and then we go on to the next day where it's actually light outside. No, I didn't think it was even light outside. I think I did just turn the light on, but it was earlier, so I could turn the light on obviously. And I started drawing Grogu. Now the whole premise of this thing was to have the Earth, a meteorite coming, and then Grogu was shooting the meteorite. It is what I did in the end, but it doesn't look as good as I wanted it to be, but it still looks alright. I then started drawing North and South America because they're the most prominent countries when it comes to, well, America is when it comes to things hitting the, like meteorites coming down to the Earth. It's always based in America in the film, so here's the finished product with a few little bits of like outlining, colouring, excuse me, and then yeah, I thought I'd do a little cinematic, got a little pew 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 cinematic thing for you, and then from here it came to the point where I needed to transfer onto the guitar. So I started off by drawing the outline of the Earth, so I'd be able to cut it out with the craft knife, put a bit of tape down, and yeah, start cutting out with the knife. I should have kept this camera angle, I think, for the whole thing, which I am a bit annoyed about because I did end up going to the side. So then but then I did put the stencil down and I just drew around it. I did start to draw the little spaceship that Grogu would be on, but then I rubbed it out, which I kind of wish I kept it now because it was actually a decent size, and then just done a little, like an actual circle using a compass. But yeah, I ended up drawing the outline of the meteorite, just going over it relatively heavy, and then it's time for paint time, baby. These are the things I used. I just used a normal acrylic. I had a little sand sponge, which I helped you sand it down to make it a little bit smoother. So I got a white and black, because they were the two main ones, and then a brush. These brushes I do not recommend. Do not get hard bristle ones. I mixed the paint with water, so I did 50-50, but I would say 75% paint, 25% water. Then end up going on, put masking tape around the outside, but it didn't actually work, so I ended up just going without it. Well, it did work in parts, but then others it didn't, so I just went without it. But about these paintbrushes, do not use thick bristle paintbrushes when painting on the guitar. Use some soft, smaller brushes, because what I found was I had heavy stroke marks from where I was applying the paint, and it didn't look as great. So every now and then I would sand it down. I did about 3 or 4 layers of white, and then sanding it down just because I don't know why, but because I think it's because the water, it just made it so then it was like a little bit more see-through, so I had to do more layers. And then you have here me applying the more layers onto the back, onto the parts that needed to be white. So the parts that were going to be coloured I would use white, but then obviously the parts where it's going to be black I didn't. So here you can see me doing the space part, just going around the moon part, no, the Earth part, not the moon. The Earth, there was parts where I messed up, and it did take a lot longer. I should have been more careful when I was doing it. But then I started flicking the paint to make it so it had the stars, and I was just showing the pens I was using, and then I was drawing the outline for the Grogu and the spaceship. And I can promise you, I am wearing shorts. I'm not naked doing this. I am wearing shorts. I then drew on the North and South America. It really does look like I'm naked. I then drew on the North and South America and then started painting around. I use Posca pens. Do not use Posca pens on this. Use Posca pens if you're maybe painting on shoes, but don't use Posca pens when you're doing a big colouring in drawing like this. Use normal acrylics. I had to use them because I didn't have any normal acrylics and I couldn't bother to go to the shop to actually buy some. So I then started painting in. And then I kind of messed up a bit on the grey at the beginning, which you can see over there. But then I just rubbed it off and then went on to doing the rest of the Earth. The Earth, this is why I recommend not using Posca pens. The Earth has a little bit of a weird kind of shine to it, and it doesn't look as great. I probably should sand it down at some points, or maybe use the brush a little bit better. And now you can see that I'm filling in the Grogu space thing. What is it called? Spaceship. But it's very basic. It's just a circle. I do add more details, and then I started filling in the meteorite. The meteorite was just the mix of the white and black, more white than black, obviously, to make it like a lighter grey. You can see then I coloured in the Grogu spaceship, very simple, and then I started going on to the North and South America, I do recommend not using Posca pens or paint pens. I do recommend you using actual paints. Now the back is finished. I did skip a few parts. It did look like this, but hit us with a drum roll, please. Ta-da! This is the finished product. The next, of the back. The next one will be in the next episode. In the next episode, I will be showing you the front part of me painting and designing the front. So yeah, see you in part 2.
Don't change a thing, you are amazing. I can't believe